no matter what, they still think it's just hilarious to get like a fart circle going. And I'm just like, I'm out.
Wait, a fart circle?
Well, kind of. There'll be like one person farts and then they're like, that's hilarious. And then another one will go and...
Wow.
I mean,
that's a whole different level.
But I just now named it a fart circle. I don't know that that's a thing.
It sounds bad.
Welcome to Story District Presents, a podcast for people who love live storytelling. I'm Amy Saidman, your host and director of Story District. Story District has been putting on live shows, coaching, and teaching the art of storytelling in Washington, D.C. since 1997. Each week on the podcast, we bring you a story told on the Story District stage. Then you'll get a chance to meet the storyteller. What's your name?
I'm Andrea Jones, resident of Maryland, fan of Story District.
The story you're about to hear on the theme Saving Face is one that Andrea told at a show we called Uncommon Sense, about the five senses. Enjoy the story and stick around afterward for our conversation with Andrea.
All right, so being a high school teacher is a little bit like being a very minor celebrity. Any teachers in the audience tonight? Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. They see you all over town. Not only do you have the kids in your class, but you have the students in the whole school. They know who you are, and they talk about you. You probably did this, right? You talk about your teachers because they're not real people. Yeah, and I know that this happened because I would see it in my class. One day, I see two girls in the corner. They're talking. They think I can't hear them. And they're like, hey, you know, Coach Riggs can't read. And I thought, well, that's impossible, that a teacher can't read. You know, it's like school is a place where a lot of reading happens, you know. But, I did follow him around a little bit. And in the 4 years that I worked at that school, I never once saw evidence of this man's literacy. And I looked. You know, and then there was the math teacher, Miss McDonald, who supposedly had this weird thing about hiding food everywhere. Like one time I saw her at a staff meeting, she's like casually pulling Twizzlers out of a book, and she had used the Twizzler pack as a bookmark. And I heard students again talking about her infamous fanny pack. It was like leather thing. You know you're serious when you have a leather fanny pack. And one day when I was kind of like casually watching, I saw her. She must have gotten hungry. They said, that she had more than like regular food in this thing, so I was really curious. I see her slowly unzip it. She pulls out an entire slice of pepperoni pizza. It's not okay. I mean, does this thing have a plastic liner? Is a dishwasher safe? I have concerns, you know? But more than that, I started to think, what are they going to say about me, right? Like, what small tidbit about myself are they going to turn into some big gossip story, right? And I tried not to worry about it most of the time, But then one day, something happened in my class that really threatened my reputation forever. So it was kind of a typical day for me. It was the first year teaching. You guys who are teachers feel me on this. You get no sleep, right? So I was up pretty much all night learning the history that I was going to teach. And then trying to find a way to not make it boring. And I got 4 hours of sleep, But I have the assignment ready. I'm giving it to the class. I'm like, okay, class, you're going to need a partner for this activity. And, whoa, I feel a little rumble in my stomach. And so it's fine. Something you need to know about me is that when I don't get a lot of sleep, I tend to have, gastric issues. And, but I still thought, I'm good, I'm fine, I got this, So, class, today we are going to learn about the presidency of Andrew Jackson, the good, the bad, and the ugly. God damn. This is more serious than I thought. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do. No, I got it. Just hold everything tight, right? Just don't move. Just stay right here till it passes, you know? So, I just need to know that y'all are with me. Like, has anybody ever let one go just because of a physical movement? Can I see hands? Like, thank you. I just need to know that you're with me in this moment. So, in just a minute, class, I'm going to be passing out the assignment. I'm going to be walking to your desk with tiny steps. I couldn't stall anymore, so I had to just for a moment unclench and take a step. Oh God, it's out. It's out. I mean, the damage is done, but the question is, what is the damage, you know? So I did a little mental checklist, you know, was there heat? Yes. Was there humidity? Maybe. But no sound, really. So maybe we're all good. You know, maybe it's fine. No. Yeah. No, it is not okay. It is not okay. Like, it was bad. It was like napalm bad. It was like think of like leaves being stripped off of trees. You know, and I thought, oh God, this is it, right? Like, I'm gonna be the teacher who farted. This is my story. This is my defining moment right here. You know, I'm gonna have to go like find another job. Like, I can't stay here, you know? But then I had, maybe not. I thought, like, here's one more chance, right? One more chance is that maybe there's no breeze. Because what you don't want in this situation is some wafting. You don't want that. Just keep it keep it right here with you, you know? But alas, it did waft. Straight out into the class. And, you know, within seconds there was a very strong reaction. You know, like when something smells so bad that like you're angry about it? This kid was like, oh man! What is that? It smells like a toilet in here. I can't breathe over here. I can't breathe. And like there was this emergency evacuation. Like I swear to God, one whole side of my class got up out of their chairs and moved to the other side of the class. I cleared a side. And the bad thing about that was that I taught in a trailer, and it was up on blocks. So the trailer was kind of like doing this, you know? And I'm like, oh my, like this is gonna like newspaper headline, like teacher's fart kills 5. I mean, I don't want that responsibility. But I heard this voice from across the room. It was the class clown, Demetrius, of course. But he was like, yo, everybody be quiet. I know who did it. It was Mario. Like the whole class looks at Mario, and Mario was a little bit surprised. You know? But, you know, it turns out that actually this is like par for the course in the life of a teenage boy. He was laughing about it. I mean, he was probably wishing that he was responsible for such a... like room clearing achievement, you know? Like, you should have seen what I did, you know? So the whole class is laughing, and, you know, and I started laughing, and I mean, I really felt like I had dodged a bullet that day, you know? I was so relieved, you know, that this is blamed on a child. You know, and I never did admit to crop dusting my class that day. And I mean, I see that maybe some of you think that's a bad thing, you know, that he's just a child and you're disappointed in my behavior. You know, have some integrity. You know, model that, right? But that's where you're wrong, okay? Because when the case is closed, people, it is closed, right? You just gotta count your blessings and walk away. Thank you.
Okay, I have to ask about the two teachers, the one with the pizza.
Yeah, no.
And that's real.
That's completely real. Although I have to say, here's the big reveal is that, so I worked at 2 different schools, and I took those teachers from a different school than the fart happened.
Ah, okay.
I mean, that's just, so they're both real. It's just that, you know, I was always concerned about rumors. I think teachers are always like, because, I mean, the rumor mill is fierce in high school, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was a student teacher, and I just the idea of turning around to write on the chalkboard, you know, you're like jiggling, and there's nothing you can do that won't be scrutinized.
Like the teacher who couldn't read, like I heard that as a rumor, and I would do all these things to try to figure it out. I would write notes, have a student deliver. Can you find the assignment for such and so? They were absent this day. Make sure he writes it.
I love that you made this your mission. You're not like, I'm above it all. I'm not going to. You're like, no.
I need to understand.
I'm going in.
Yeah. I need to understand.
Participate. So, no, what I wanted to use as a teachable moment is for storytelling. And the fact that you mentioned that you compressed a couple situations.
Yeah.
And so we talk about in class a lot the literal truth versus the emotional truth.
Yeah.
And we would call that the emotional truth. So there's no deception. There's no fiction.
Right.
But I think that's a fantastic example of still maintaining that trust with the audience and the truth of the story, but tweaking it a bit to work for a stage.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody asks me if that person actually existed, I can explain, yes, in full detail.
Yeah.
And how it made me feel about, you know,
exactly.
being the next victim.
Okay, so there's so much to say. I need to give some background. So the whole reason you're here today, really, well, you took a class.
That's
right?
true, yeah.
And you developed this story in the class.
In the class.
Okay. Why did you take the class in the first place? Why were you thinking about doing storytelling?
Well, my wife bought it for me for Christmas. It was kind of one of those things that I wanted to do, but I was kind of scared to do it. I think a lot of people feel that way. In fact, my ex-husband used to say that I taught just so I could like stand up and tell jokes to the kids, you know. But it was still scary. I hadn't really done that. I mean, it's and I think a lot of teachers will tell you that it's one thing to stand up in front of your class and do what you do every day. It's a totally different thing to stand up in front of adults and try to make them laugh, because you're really putting yourself out there. It's kind of a vulnerable thing.
Very.
I didn't know if I could do it. I think it took that, you know, here's the gift card. I was like, well, I don't want to waste it. You know, better do it.
Good wife.
Yeah.
So how'd it go the first time?
You mean the first time on stage or in the class?
Well, yeah, I guess in the class. Like I guess as you're going along and developing this courage.
Yeah. Well, I was amazed that, I mean, so I think there were maybe 20 people in the class, and from all different walks of life. And at first I was like, oh my God, some of these people are like the person at the party that is boring you. Like you're standing there talking.
I love that you're trashing your classmates.
Sorry. Like, yeah, your Peace Corps experience is really amazing. Like all of you. I know they changed you more than you changed them. Like it's amazing, you know. But what I was amazed was that at the end, the instructors had shaped and helped the people in the class so much that we had a good show at the end. Like they were good stories. So I felt like, well, here's an example of when teaching really works.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was going there, but that's like the best thing ever. Great plug for the class.
Yeah, I really did feel that way.
I fell in love with you and your story, which is why I have tried to put it on stage as many times as possible.
Display the fart. Yeah,
it just keeps getting better, honestly.
That is, and in terms of a technique, I think that that's a really good way to prove that repetition does work, because when I was doing the Capital Fringe show, I did 6 shows of that story. And each time I was learning about what the audience was going to react to, and how if I said one thing before another word, then sometimes it didn't really work. And you can make a story, I think, not fresh, or it can get a little stale. But I just feed off of the audience so much. That's why it's a little bit hard for me to tell serious stories, because you don't get the auditory feedback.
Yeah. No, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I'm a big advocate of storytellers. If we work hard on these stories, people don't realize. And if you have if you have material, use it like every other artist. If you're a musician, you do that song a gajillion times till you're 85.
Yeah.
If you're a comedian, if you're a poet, you use the material that you created and you run with it. So I'm a big advocate for storytellers to think that way.
This is really the fart that would not die.
Yeah, it really is. You auditioned for Outspoken.
Right, yeah. I thought
You came out
if
about
I can
that.
tell a story about a fart, I can tell a story about being gay.
Yeah.
Well, it's a natural jump.
It really is. So Outspoken, I will say, is Story District's annual show for Pride. So tell us a teaser about what that story was.
So, I mean, being gay is something that people realize at different points in their life. For me, it took a really long time. So I had fun sort of poking at how long it took me and how obvious it was to everyone else that I was gay, even to the point where I had a party with a boob theme, which was like International Breastfeeding Awareness Month or something like that. So
even though you have no children. But you did have a husband for 10 years.
I did.
15.
12.
12, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so for reals.
Yeah.
Do you think you avoided having a reputation for something, or do you think there was something that stuck, that the students talked about you?
I was probably known as the teacher who was in the closet, because all the gay kids used to hang out in my classroom after school.
Oh.
I mean, I was like a magnet for them. I'm misunderstood. I don't know why you're here. I see you're all gay. What's going on?
Why me?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's true. And even the ones that weren't gay, at the time, are now gay. Every kid that hung out and, because you kind of have, if you're a teacher, some of you have a little group of kids that kind of hang out with you. Yeah.
They definitely knew. That's
I think they probably did know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they probably didn't know that you didn't know.
Subconsciously. I remember one kid saying to me, because I had a wedding ring, and this kid was like, "You're married?" And I was like, "What? Why can't I be married? Why?"
So you're not in the classroom as a teacher anymore.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
But when did you stop doing that?
I transitioned out of that in 2009-ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about your work.
I'm a consultant now for museums, it's a great place to be in DC. And especially with history museums, to really make that stuff from the past seem as relevant as something that happened today.
Mm-hmm. So what's the name of your company?
Peak Experience Lab. PeakExperienceLab.com.
PEAK.
Yeah, like the mountain peak. The best experience you could have, like a lightning bolt of transformative learning.
Got it. I love it. And your website's great. So definitely go visit it, folks. All right, Andrea, thank you so much for being here on the podcast, for telling your stories on the Story District stage.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
That's it for this episode of Story District Presents. Thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, tell your friends, and most importantly, keep listening. Visit our website, storydistrict.org, to find pictures and links related to this episode. And while you're there, get tickets to one of our live shows, pitch a story of your own, sign up for a class, or hire our fantastic consulting team for your business or organization. Story District Presents is supported in part by funding from the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. Our show is produced by Lizzie Peabody, Ronald Young Jr., Alana Nevins, Nick Hill, Tim St. Clair, and Jackson Bierfeld. I'm Amy Saidman, and this is Story District Presents. We'll see you next time. Do you do the cheek lift?
You know, everybody does.
No, I don't.
Are you serious?
No, first of all, I do the cheek squeeze. I have respect for myself and others.
Amy, sometimes you need room, you know what I mean? Like, it's not performative, it's functional.